Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I also think we're going to pay a little surprise to some of the great patriots that we have out on the street. And they've been out there for a long time, and they've got Trump flags, and they love our country. So I'm not telling anybody but you, but I'm about to make a little surprise visit. So perhaps I'll get there before you get to see me.
What in God's name was he doing? Can I just be honest here? Right? Look, producer Anthony Edward, you can have all the disdain you want for Trump, but the admiration of the fact that a 74-year-old has the kind of energy and is a go, go, go kind of guy. Remember months ago, he's had a stroke. He's all of these things. That dude never stops. But you know what? This was dumb. It was. Taking a joyride with, and I know people say, well, hold on, Chad. They got this, they got that. Look, you're supposed to be isolating. There's no reason to put anybody in harm's way whatsoever. Period. I know you want to say hi. I wish there was a window you could have gone to and waved to people. That'd have been much easier. This, I don't think, was necessary.
I mean, this is evidence that his behaviors, his treatment course is not being directed by his doctors. There's no doctor that would say now is the time for a joyride around the hospital. He should remain put. He should remain in isolation. And it makes me sick to see him in close quarters with the others in that car who need to go into quarantine right now.
Yeah, quarantine. Dr. Esther Chu. Right there. I just don't know what it was about. Maybe it was the steroids, right? Like that's a possibility.
When we put patients on high-dose steroids like that, we monitor them very closely because there's a host of side effects, including impact on their mental health and decision-making. You can see delirium or psychosis. You are generally not yourself. There comes a time when patients on this very specific treatment regimen maybe shouldn't be making decisions about what they have capacity to do.
Chad, you're being really mean to the president. No, I'm being honest. The reality is you shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't have. They're going to come up with every excuse in the book.
You know, the president wanted to thank all the supporters who had been standing out there for days, supporting him. The detail leader and of the Secret Service and the driver both volunteered for that assignment. As you know, they have very, very difficult jobs, but they were not required to do that. They both volunteered. And there was a piece of plexiglass, I believe, between the president and the two Secret Service agents who were in the vehicle.
Corey Lewandowski, we've had him on the show several times. I'd call BS on that, man. There's no way. You shouldn't be anywhere near that. At this point in time, do your thing. You're going to get out of the hospital today? Is that a possibility? I think that's what he's talking about. It doesn't matter when he gets out of the hospital, right? I have a feeling he's going to end up going back. And it's frustrating. It truly is frustrating. Look, I admire the guys go, go, go. 74, most 24-year-olds don't go, go, go like that guy. I admire that. I think this hasn't been played right from the start. There's too many conflicting messages. And if you go back and look through history, like FDR totally lied about the fact that he was dying when he ran again. Presidents have lied throughout the ages about how sick they are or aren't. That's fine. America needs to know. No, the president, while we want to know, the reality is you can't keep it a secret. Today, FDR couldn't lie about that. He could lie, but it's going to get out. I just think there's better things that you can do at this moment in time to show the people that you're taking this thing in a serious way and not putting people at risk. That is not a win. I'm sorry. It's not a win. It's not. Chad, you're not, no, I'm being just straightforward here, kids. There's better things that he can be doing. Which is, I expect him to get out because I think a week in the hospital is it. If Trump can't get out of the hospital within a week or so, he's going to miss the next debates. I look at that and I say to myself, that would be a loss. Now, do I think there'll be another debate? There's a possibility of it. I don't think it's going to be the one in 2 weeks, which is less than 2 weeks. This week, got the VP one. And that's what he's counting on. He was counting on delivering a knockout blow. Has this changed him?
So it's been a very interesting journey. I learned a lot about COVID. I learned it by really going to school. This is the real school. This isn't the let's read the book school. And I get it, and I understand it. And it's a very interesting thing, and I'm going to be letting you know about it. In the meantime, we love the USA, and we love what's happening. Thank you.
It's got to be that way. I mean, imagine right now fighting for your political life in a situation where you're in the hospital. Well, how sick is he? We're not going to know that. We won't know that until we get to the point where he becomes so sick that he has to transfer power, and I don't think that's going to happen. Well, he's getting lots of drugs. Of course he is. Trump's probably saying, just give me everything you've got. Throw everything. I need to get back out there. I need to do it right now. He's got access that the average person doesn't have. That's the reality. Remdesivir, give me steroids. What's this Regeneron stuff? Give me some of that cocktail, the antibodies. Give me everything you got. Give it all to me. Throw it at me. Because I need to get back out there. It's tough. It is. It's a tough look. A lot of people are frustrated. I talk to a lot of people. People say, you don't know. Listen, let me tell you something. Right? You have no idea what I do and don't know, and you have no idea who I do and don't talk to. And I talk to people who are in the know, and they'll tell me how frustrated they are. They'll tell me how bad this looks. They'll tell me how worried they are about this election. Now, they won't do it in front of the camera. You don't do that. But the reality is you'd be a fool to think in any way, shape, or form that this is one of those situations where he's becoming, the martyr side of things. And people are, is he going to get a sympathy vote? Is he going to, Boris Johnson, work for Boris Johnson. He's going to get, he's underplayed this at times so much. He's battled at times so much with the media, the mask thing, the whole nine. And I'm not saying if you wore a mask that, look, I'm surprised it took him this long to get it. And I think if he would have got this 8 months ago, 5 months ago, 3 months ago, even 2 months ago, we may be talking about something completely different right now. But this close to an election, it's a tough thing. And then you got to look around. You got to say to yourself, well, what is it doing at all? Is it helping Biden? Is it helping Trump? Is it just, this is what we got. Nobody's minds change.
A new ABC News Ipsos poll shows that nearly 3 out of every 4 Americans say the president didn't take the risk of getting COVID seriously enough. Joe Biden's campaign has pulled negative ads about the president following the news of his COVID diagnosis and is promising to release the results of every COVID-19 test Biden takes.
3 out of 4. Well, that's not a big deal. 3 out of 4. That's a lot. I can't blame Trump for everything. I'm not going to blame Trump for the way that governors have handled this across the country. Let's be real. The Democrats over time have said a bunch of crap that ended up being just absolute baloney. Case in point, let's go back, beginning of this whole mess. Remember this whole mess?
The risk to New Yorkers for coronavirus is low.
And our city preparedness is high.
This should not stop you from going about your life, should not stop you from going to Chinatown and going out to eat. I'm going to do that today myself.
Come to Chinatown. Here we are. We're, again, careful, safe, and come join us.
Across the board, everybody's played this game. And is it political theater? Of course it is. Did anybody want to see 200,000+ people die? No. Did we know anything about that? Hence the reason it's a novel coronavirus. Has time changed a lot of things? Yes. Monday morning quarterback is so much easier to play. The reality of all of this, though, is we're in the midst of an election. It's still not going anywhere. When you go and look at the economy right now, people are kind of in this situation where they feel like they're running uphill in sand. It's not ice against the wind, but it feels like it's sand. We're just spinning the wheels, and normally we'd be kind of spinning the wheels anyways because we'd have an election coming up and people are worried about what's happening. You throw all of that in, this is a nightmare. And then for Trump to catch the COVID, to catch the vid, the Rona, and to see his close-knit group of people also catch it is not only an eye-opener, it's a frustrating thing. If you're trying to win an election, and this has been one of the things you've pushed back at times hard against, and you've battled in the public eye, that is not a win. It isn't. I don't know who's going to win, and I don't care who you vote for. I'm just being honest. I'm giving it to you right there. Absolutely. Throwing it out there. Did he go to certain places after he knew? That's the other question. I said the other day, if he went places knowing he had tested positive and he went out, you got to go. Sorry. It's the most asinine thing in the world if you did that. If you did. Now, you get conflicting reports that he went to this thing at Bedminster in New Jersey knowing he had tested positive, but was waiting for another test to come back. I'm sorry. Sorry. That's ridiculous. It is. What happens if somebody really gets sick and dies from this? Just curious, inside of his circle. Think that's a win for him? But Chad, you're over. No, I'm not overplaying. Just being honest. Do I think it's the deadliest thing on earth? No, I don't. I think it spreads really fast. I think it's easy to catch. And I think a lot of people out there underplay it. And I think a lot of people overplay it. It's not hard. And just because you take all the cautions in the world doesn't, like I took precaution here, doesn't mean you can't catch it. And some people are out there just living their life, and guess what? Doesn't matter. Doesn't seem to affect them. But if he did, I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program as well. A lot of stuff to get to. SCOTUS still out there. The business community is being absolutely smashed right now. Could there be more shutdowns coming? We'll be talking about that. Raycon, best earbuds around. Relaxed this weekend. Went out, hit golf ball Saturday. Had my Raycons in. It was an enjoyable day. A little bit warm, but I didn't have to worry about those things falling out. I've used all kinds of different earbuds and headphones and stuff in the past. Raycons are the best. It's the fit to me that's amazing. Nice noise isolating fit, 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth pairing. But for me, especially working out, what I love about these earbuds is they don't ever feel like they're going to fall out. It's almost like they snap into your ears. The nice noise isolating fit, I'll have to make a couple of video conference calls later. It's great knowing I can hear them and they can hear me. But on top of that, the price level. Oh my goodness. The sound quality and price level, you pay $200+ for something like this. Well under $100. I'm going to save you big right now. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. The best earbuds around. Save 15% on the best earbuds around. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
So the hearing is going to go forward, no doubt, in my mind, starting a week from tomorrow. And then on the Senate floor later this month, first off, I think every senator who's currently tested positive or is in isolation will be back to work under normal conditions, as other senators have been as well, like Rand Paul or Tim Kaine. But if that's not the case, there is a long and venerable tradition of ill or medically infirm senators being wheeled in to cast critical votes on the Senate floor.
Tom Cotton, right there. We're wheeling them in. Doesn't matter. We will wheel them in to get this SCOTUS pick through.
Most recently, Robert Byrd in 2009 repeatedly rolled in a wheelchair just months before his death to vote for Obamacare. So I'm confident that every senator will be in attendance when his or her vote is needed.
They're going to get him there. We're going to get this over the line. So the last thing that Trump administration does, it's get that person over the line. Do it. Who's tested positive so far? You got the president. You've got Hope Hicks. You've got the president's wife. You got Ronna McDaniel, Kellyanne Conway, Chris Christie, several others, Tom Tillis and many others who have tested negative. Luckily, Vice President Mike Pompeo, some of the inner staff, Kellyanne McEnany and things of that nature that have tested positive. And one of the things I talked last week to Dr. Cardona, who was the former Surgeon General, and he said that you got to have a few days of testing because you may test negative today, but you test positive in 4 or 5 days. But we talked about the shortfall of testing itself because your test is only as good as that moment. So if you do nothing else, because the question is that they'd become very lax around the White House. Originally, people were saying, you know what, it was pretty, there were masks being worn and it was temperature taking and it was all of those things. But they've become pretty lax over the last, and there's a sense of, kind of comfortable. You get into just kind of the same old thing rolling through and through, and you just don't think about things. Is some of that real? Obviously. But also, people have lives. Well, they shouldn't. They should be quarantined all the time inside that bubble. Like, it's just not going to happen. Partly because these guys are going out on a daily basis, guys and gals, and they're talking to other senators. They're talking to other congresspeople who are, trying to get through bills, trying to get the stimulus done, trying to say, hey, you got to meet with our SCOTUS pick. All of those things are happening. And then you travel a ton. So while I think sometimes you get into a comfortable over and over, you start to become lax, you let your guard down. And it's not like the guard was up a lot anyways. A lot of people inside of the White House said, while it was better, it wasn't like it is on the other side for some people, especially the Biden campaign. At the end of the day, they're both of these guys are in their 70s. They're not the ideal range to get this thing. And while they have a 95% chance, give or take, to get through this thing with very little complications and survive it, it's still not something you'd like to see. And for Trump, this is going to cost him valuable time on the campaign trail and valuable time where he can be out and about getting ready for another debate and getting him potentially 2 debates instead of maybe only 1. So, yes, there's some issues that are going to come with this thing when it comes to his campaign. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I do. Check out Chad Benson Show TV. Also, go to our Facebook page, Chad Benson Show. Like us, follow us there. Crazy weekend. What's happening in the world of sports? We're going to touch on that. Also, one of the biggest movie chains in the country. Go bye-bye? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
So you saw the headlines there. Axios is saying the campaign is effectively over. What are your thoughts?
Well, then I think the good folks at Axios can just close their doors for the next month. Are you kidding me? There's a vice presidential debate on Wednesday. You got 2 more presidential debates. Donald Trump will be back on the campaign trail before we know it. There's a lot of campaigning left to go.
Jason Chaffetz right there. He's coming back. Here's my thing. Is it over? Campaign the way he wants to campaign, as much as he wants to do it, may be over. Chat, being honest, right? Do you want honesty, or do you want affirmation? Do I think he's going to get back out there at some point in time sooner than most people think? Yes, I absolutely do. Do I think that this has hurt him? Yeah, because I'm not an idiot. Look, if you love Trump, you're voting for Trump. Doesn't matter. Guy could end up losing his life from this or anything, and you're still going to vote for him. You don't care. On the other side of things, independent voters are what you need to be worried about. How do independent voters see this? That matters. The swing voters. I keep telling people, you live in your echo chamber and bubble on both sides, right? So you're over here, you hate Trump, you think the whole world hates Trump. Over here, you think everybody loves Trump, and it's way bigger than people think. But in the middle, people who are undecided, the voters that will swing this, the 50,000 in one state, the 100,000 in another state, I think this is a much bigger issue than people realize, because they've not mailed in their ballots. The people that have mailed in their ballots, they've made their decision. They made it a long time ago, and this has nothing to do with it. The other people that will be going on that night, this is a big deal to them.
As Denise Hardaway cast her ballot on Friday, she had President Trump's health on her mind.
I prayed for him. I hope he recovers. I hope his family recovers.
But she voted for Joe Biden, in part because of what she believes has been the president's mishandling of coronavirus, for which he's now tested positive.
He has been denying the whole science behind coronavirus, and so I hope this is a wake-up call for him. And I hope that it changes his administration's thinking and that he realizes and understands the importance of this pandemic.
I think he understands the importance. I also think he thought, you know what, this is another thing that the Democrats are going to use to try to destroy me. And has he denied some of the science? You'd be foolish to think that he has. Hasn't. He has, totally. Because politically it didn't. Has the science been politically motivated at times? And it feels like that we've made this thing out to be the Ebola virus, and the news has helped with the doom scrolling and, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. And if you get this, I know you have a 99.3% chance of survival, but realistically you should start planning. Yes, that's totally true. And it's also an effect thing. I have two friends that are staunch Republicans. They're not so much Trump Republicans, but they're staunch Republicans. They voted for Trump. And had everything been the same, they would have continued to click the box for Trump. Both of them have lost a family member to this. And they won't vote for Trump. They will not do it. Understanding the ramifications of seeing Trump out of the White House and the left absolutely take over. I think they're going to win the Senate. I think they're going to strengthen themselves in the House. And I think they're going to have the White House. I think that's the reality of where we're headed right now. I'm not trying to be some, oh my God, Chad, you're an idiot. You've given up. You sound like you're a Democrat. I'm neither. I think both these parties are corporations that have failed us across the board. But I'm not here to give you affirmation. I'm here to give you information.
In Michigan, like many states, the election is already underway, even as the campaign is suddenly filled with fresh uncertainty.
I hope it turns out right for him, but he's kind of pressing the limits with a lot of things he's done recently.
Tom Orlowski has supported many Republican presidents, but Friday he voted for Biden.
Did the president's handling of coronavirus influence your vote this year?
I can't help but think that it's going to be obviously a big issue in this election. People that have died or been affected by it.
Yeah. That's real. And the whole thing with the mask, too. Let's be real. The mask debate is out there. Debating. So you wear a mask or you don't wear a mask. Trump has come across at times as somebody who has poo-pooed that. Well, there's science that says, I said, for every one thing in science you show me when it comes to a mask, I can show you 10 that say it's better than nothing. Now, do I think the masks that we wear on a day-to-day basis are really that good? No. I don't think they're the greatest things in the world. For a lot of people, it makes them feel better. Anytime you can get something at Old Navy because you think it looks cool doesn't mean that it's going to be really, really good at stopping things. But he could have done better. He should have done better. He doesn't need to wear it everywhere. Inside the White House, he said, well, I wore it sometimes inside the White House. There could have been times where you did better with it. One of the reasons I think we're going to have a minor flu season is because, yes, we're social distancing and we're not back to work the way we once were. Kids who tend to spread the flu pretty easy, they're not going to be in schools in a lot of places across the country. But we're also going to be wearing masks, which I think will help. Is it the end all to be all? No, it is not. Absolutely not. You know it and I know. Fact is, there are people out there who do everything from stay inside their house, have food delivered, they wear a mask when they're in their car with this, and they're still going to get this. But optics matter.
4 years ago, Trump narrowly won Michigan, the first Republican presidential candidate to carry the state since 1988.
On November 3rd, Michigan, you better vote for me.
I think he was dealt a bad hand.
Philip Brown cast his ballot for Trump and does not blame the president for how he's handled coronavirus.
I can't believe it took this long for him to get the virus because he just didn't follow any of the rules as far as staying safe.
You should have wore a mask, dude. Didn't wear a mask, and now you're going to pay the price.
Even if he wore a mask, I'm not saying, He wouldn't have got it. Let's be real. People wear masks. They still get stuff. That's the reality of it. Optics. Optics do matter. Absolutely 110%. It matters. And do I think this hurt his campaign? I absolutely do. Even if he comes out of this, and out of the hospital, bouncing around, doing his thing, going on, I still think this has put a damper on his campaign that was struggling. It was. I mean, you go and look at the polls right now across the board, even within the margin of error. People say, well, the polls in 2016 were wrong, Chad. Yeah, they were. And I don't trust a ton of these polls, but I will say this. You go and you look, take out the margin of error, even cut it in half. Trump's still struggling in a lot of these states because people want somebody to blame. And they're blaming Trump, rightly or wrongly, for the way he's handled this. And then you got to look out there, too, and say to yourself, what's going to go on here from the future? You look at small businesses, which is the lifeblood of what our country is, and the struggle they're having. New York's talking about yet again another shutdown. Are we going to have more of that?
For most businesses, there was life before COVID-19 and life after it.
Almost half of respondents think that Americans have been adapting.
Eugenio Alman with the National Association for Business Economics on the group's latest survey also says it may be a while before we see a GDP back at pre-pandemic levels.
We will have to wait until at least the second half of 2021.
On a more positive note, respondents say we probably won't see a double-dip recession, even with the second wave of the virus.
Yeah, because I don't think we're going to be able to shut things down. But you have coronavirus, then you have what we call the absolute destruction of our economy. Today, you've got a situation when it comes to one of my favorite places in the world, movie theater company. Absolutely. One of my favorite places. One of my favorite places to the point where I absolutely have my Regal card. And guess what? Again?
The past isn't dead. It's a done deal. Regal Cinemas owner Cineworld confirms they're temporarily closing all 526 Regal Cinemas locations in America, as well as 127 theaters in the UK as of this Thursday. The news first broke Friday, but as recently as Sunday, Cineworld tweeted they were only considering shuttering their screens. The ongoing pandemic has all but eliminated moviegoing and delayed the release of potential blockbusters, most recently the James Bond flick No Time to Die. The closures will cost some 4,500 jobs.
Yeah. Little things like that on a day-to-day basis. People look around. They want somebody to blame. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. Being the coach, you take the blame. You're the coach and you're the GM. You're going to take the blame on this and the way that it's handled. People are looking at their paychecks and they're thankful they've got one. And then other people are looking out there, looking at the government going, well, I can't work because my job is either temporarily closed or it's open, but only partially. And now my hours are cut to the point where I can't survive. I can't blame Trump for everything because that's silly. He's got a part to play. Governors have a part to play in this as well, across the board. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter what state you're in. Your governor, because of our state's rights, and that's what we want, has played a huge part in this. But across the board, this thing has been fumbled all over the place. Science has been used to damn, condemn, and to play a game. And it's silly. It's stupid. And here we are, still fighting this thing. We're getting closer to a vaccine and some very good therapeutics. And we'll treat this thing more like the flu, drop that death toll, mortality rate down to probably the level of the flu. But this is more than just a lost year for a lot of people. This is a lost lifetime of building a business, loss of family members, and we like to find who gets the blame for this. And if it was Biden, no matter which way it had gone, people still be blaming him. Why? Because that's what we do. If Biden becomes the president and this thing drags on and the economy takes a bigger dumper and we slow down again because he's more of a let's close everything down, who do you think's going to take the fall for that? Biden, because you're at the top. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program as well. Love hearing from all of you. Car Shield, 800-CAR-6000. Use code Benson. Let me tell you why Car Shield's amazing. So for my car, I had an issue with, I've got two cars, an older one and a newer one. And one of my issues with my car was my newer one, the electronics in it. Didn't have to worry. Car Shield had me covered. Paid a small deductible. It allowed me to take it right back to the dealership. They got it fixed, move on with life. That's the beauty of Car Shield. They're incredible. 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose the shop. They get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, you are worried about what I was worried about, the electronics, all of that stuff. Guess what? Car Shield has a plan that's right for you. Maybe you're worried about transmission, things of that nature. Car Shield has a plan that's right for you. Call 800-CAR-6000. Use code Benson to save 10%. 800-CAR-6000. Code Benson saves you 10%. Or go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use that code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to Chad. No, not the country. The institution. The Chad Benson Show.
This is funny. So, Robert Redfield, head of the CDC, talking about how you can protect yourself, puts out this thing. Do not wear a mask, and he's got these 7 different ways of how you're not supposed to wear around your neck. So don't do that. All right, that's not effective. On your forehead, again, not effective. Like under your nose, not effective. Only on your nose, on your chin, not effective. Dangling from your ear. These are all pictures. A girl dangling from the ear, not effective. On your arm, not effective. If you don't get that, let's stop protecting some. So I'm like, yeah, we want to protect as many as possible. Like, that's what we all think it, right? We all think, yeah, we want to protect as many. But I watched Bill Burr a couple weeks ago, and he's like, we're the only species that does this. No other species does this. Right? You don't think the lions are like, oh, so-and-so got a splinter in his foot. We better protect him. People are like, well, that sucks for him. Oh, my goodness. That's what all this is, right? We're protecting, in many cases, the ill-informed and stupid. Well, that's not very nice. No, that's why when you see somebody who's smart, who you know, like, that guy gets it or she gets it, but they're just like, I'm taking a calculated risk that I may get this thing, I may not get this thing. But it's different when you have to have diagrams, like, don't put it on your eyes because it doesn't work. Don't wear it backwards. Wearing on your shoe is not going to stop you. If I have to tell you that because you saw somebody put one on their shoe, who are we protecting at that point? Hey, we'd like you to live longer and maybe reproduce. Chad, 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program as well. Love hearing you. Saturday Night Live, big opening over the weekend. Chris Rock.
The elephant in the room. President Trump's in the hospital from COVID. And I just want to say my heart goes out to COVID.
Because COVID doesn't stand a chance.
I know we got to figure out our whole relationship. We got to renegotiate our relationship to the government. The Senate and the Congress, does it work? No, it doesn't freaking work, man. It doesn't work. And we've agreed, and why doesn't it work? Because they need freaking term limits, okay? We've agreed in the United States that we cannot have kings, yet we have dukes and duchesses running the Senate and the Congress, making decisions for poor people.
So true. Absolutely true. We talked about it over and over again. Over and over again. Across the board. You should not have a lifetime there. You shouldn't. It's nuts. 2 term limits, maybe 3, and we move on with our lives. You weren't supposed to be able to go there. D.C. wasn't designed for that, right? It was designed for people to show up, usually reluctantly. Like, why are you here? Well, I'm the only one in my village can read. All right, fantastic. So they sent me. Awesome. So you go there. You're like, I got other stuff, though. I got farm stuff, you know. I gotta get back to that. And we're doing potatoes. I don't know anything about it. They may work, may not work. I don't know, but we're going to see. So you go there and reluctantly you do it and you hope you do it well. And then you had the ones that were always there around, you know, they were the intellectuals, but the average person went there. It's not that way anymore. They want the power. They enjoy it. There's a fiefdom. It's about being reelected. It's not about whether or not they do the best job for you. It's not about that. It's about party, then personal, then whatever's left is about the people. And that should frustrate us. Should frustrate every one of us. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, Instagram. Check out Chad Benson Show TV on the YouTube. And check out the Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. This is the aforementioned Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
You know, the president wanted to thank all the supporters who had been standing out there for days, supporting him. The detail leader and of the Secret Service and the driver both volunteered for that assignment. As you know, they have very, very difficult jobs, but they were not required to do that. They both volunteered. And there was a piece of plexiglass, I believe, between the president and the two Secret Service agents who were in the vehicle.
Corey Lewandowski, we're going to effort to get him on. I'm sorry. You didn't need to do that yesterday. I know people out there, you had to. No, you didn't. You didn't need to do that. You didn't need to, Rudy Giuliani.
The president wanted to show people, you know, I'm around, I'm doing well.
Okay, well, you're sending out videos, you're tweeting. You didn't need to be out. That showed the kind of thing that the people on the left have been screaming how little you pay attention to this, how much you poo-pooed this. And for independent voters out there, remember, I'm not talking to you people who love Trump, right? Who you got to the point where you'd follow him into the fire. I'm not talking about you diehard Trumpers. I'm not even talking about you Republicans out there who's like, I don't really like Trump, but I'm going to vote for him because the alternatives are. I'm talking about the independent voter, the person out there who is voted Republican in the past, voted Democrat in the past, doesn't have any kind of true affiliation at all. Just kind of the feeling is, I'm talking about those people you need to swing, those people you need to get on your side, those people who are out there who you desperately need in swing states. Who thought, I enjoyed the economy with you, but I'm not a big fan of the way you've handled this. They look at this and they think, that was unnecessary. And it was. Sorry, it was. There's no doubt in my mind. I believe Trump's going to beat this. I've said that. I think he's going to get through it with flying colors. And look, at 74, to be going as hard as he goes all the time. And he goes. I mean, you got to give it to him. A couple months back, he's had a stroke, he's this, he's that, that guy goes. He never, ever seems to stop. He goes. But this kind of thing was stupid. It was. Didn't need to be done. Could have done it another way.
He needs to be isolated for at least 10 days after his symptom onset. So he's got another 6-7 days of isolation, whether that happens at Walter Reed or the White House.
Yeah. But what are you doing? What are you doing? Well, he's got a campaign. That's the big thing. He's got a campaign. He needs to get out there. He needs to win this thing. I think he knows I'm falling behind and I need to win these debates. That was my big hope, is to win these debates. The first one was just awful across. I've yet to find somebody outside of both campaigns who thought that was a great debate. It was awful. It was. It was nasty. So, thought process is, we're going to have another debate. Maybe. Maybe we do. Maybe we don't. We got the VP debate this week. But the presidential debate, hey, would anybody blame Biden? You're in the lead, according to most polls. You feel like you're doing all right. You're going to continue to campaign day in and day out in the swing states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. You know you have to win. Florida, I still think is going to be a tough, go with him because of Cuba and the relationship with the Obama administration in Cuba. So I think that's going to be a little bit tougher. But by and large, I think you're thinking to yourself, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going to hit the states I think I need to really hit, and I'm going to hit them as hard as I possibly can, and then we'll go from there. Trump, probably not for another several days, is going to be out there. But even by the time he's probably cleared to do it, if I'm Biden, do you really want another one? Do you? I mean, you showed up at the first one. Nobody would blame anybody. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't want to see what I saw last week. I don't want to see that at all. And now you've got hey, you had the COVID, and I don't think we need to do this again. I think people have heard enough. You know.
The Biden campaign wishing the president a speedy recovery and hoping the second showdown between the candidates goes on as scheduled. With just 30 days to go until Election Day, the president's diagnosis has thrust the campaign into turmoil. Joe Biden and his wife Jill were both tested after reporting negative tests Friday. Biden's last contact with the president, Tuesday's debate stage in Cleveland.
Would you want to give him another shot? This next one is supposed to be much different, more of a town hall-like feel. But if I'm in the lead, why do I want to go back out there? I think it's a fair question. I think there will be another debate. I don't know if we'll get another 2 debates. And by the way, we may get scheduled another 2 debates. We may get the second debate on time as planned next week. And it may be ugly. And there may be we're not doing the third one. I wouldn't blame if it goes the way the last one does. But Trump needs those. I know people out there, because I'm getting it, Twitter, people texting me, yeah, Chad, you're an idiot, you're a fool, you sound like it. No, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a fan of Biden. Not a fan of Kamala Harris. I think the Democrats have lost their plot as well. They've sold their soul to the uber woke side of the aisle that, to me, frightens me a ton because of the way that this thing's going. But at the same time, I'm also a realist, and I'm looking at this thinking, people want somebody to blame. Always know that in life. People want somebody to blame for something. If something goes wrong, everybody's looking for somebody to blame. You're at work, project falls apart, you want to find blame. Even though maybe everybody had some blame in it, there's got to be the head blamer. You're the one. We're blaming you the most. We're blaming you the most. We're blaming you. You're the one. So people want somebody to blame. I'm just being realistic here and saying Trump's got an uphill battle. And being off the campaign trail is not a helper for him. He needs to get out there. Do I think he'll get out there? I do. Do I think he'll make a speedy recovery? Absolutely. Is he getting all of the things he needs? Yes, 110%. Was he irresponsible going out there yesterday, doing a drive-by for the fans? Yeah, 110%. Absolutely. Should not have done that. The end of the day, a lot of people have already made their decision, but there are swing voters out there to the tune of probably, they talk about the other night. They say 75 million or so watched it, give or take, and about 10% of people are undecided on who they're going to vote for. That undecided is the swing vote. That undecided, it doesn't need to be 5 million. It could be 50,000 in one state, 100,000 in another state, 75,000 in another state. It doesn't need to be, it needs to be 10. No, it doesn't. It needs to be a certain amount of people inside of a state. And we saw that with how close the last election was. We've seen that over and over again. Go look back, Bush versus Gore. It's a certain amount of people that will swing a state in a certain way and give those electoral votes to that person. And those people out there are looking at this and thinking to themselves, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's bad as the press says it is. At the same time, it is pretty bad, and you didn't need to do that. It's little things across the board. And I love how when I hear people say, well, who cares? We don't need them. You need them. You absolutely need them. 110%. You need them. Certain places, you being a Republican in California, New York, your vote doesn't matter. Most of the time, you being a Republican in a place like Texas, your vote matters. Arizona, absolutely. Independent voters, 110%. A lot of places are going purple. So yes, every stunt, everything now is magnified, and you being off the trail. If he can't get back on the campaign trail for real for another 7 to 10 days, that's a tough hill to climb. Not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying it's as close as you're going to get. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Like I said, I do think that Trump's going to get back. I do think he's going to beat this. I never thought. You go look at the numbers. I mean, listen to what the World Health Organization said. And I want to give you guys just a snapshot of the reality of this as far as the mortality rate.
Our current best estimates tell us that about 10% of the global population may have been infected by this virus.
10%. That would make about 750 million people. And with the death at 1%, so the flu would be at 99.99%. So 1/10 of 1%. This would be at 99.85%. So half a percentage deadlier than the flu. And people say, see, but then I try to explain to people, it's the net. The net on this thing is far greater than that of the flu. This thing catches easier, so the net is much bigger. That's the difference, realistically. Yeah, we don't have a vaccine, and we don't have a therapeutic, although I think we're getting there with both of those. Fauci over the weekend said there's no doubt it looks like we're going to get a vaccine. When we get it and how it's distributed, that still remains to be seen. Therapeutics, the Regeneron, the antibody ones they're giving him, the steroids early on, a few of the other things. I think we're getting closer and closer to having a few therapeutics that can work, kind of like a Tamiflu. So what that does is instead of you being sick for 2 weeks, you may only be sick for 3 to 4 or 5 days. And you recover much faster. And it mitigates a lot of the damage and the hell you go through. And that's good. Shouldn't be this hard. Common sense. Wear a mask, social distance, wash your hands. In a situation like this, it kind of catches easy. So that's it. We got a good therapeutics. We'll wear a mask. We get on with our lives. We go to sporting events. We go watch movies. We get back to doing the things we need to do. Just being a little bit smarter. But instead it became political. And what do we have? A crap show. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Rough Greens, my dog Doodle. I talk about Doodle. But I got 2 other dogs. I got 2 other puppies. They're one's about 1.5 years and the other one's less than a year. And they love their Rough Greens. They take it too. And I love the fact that it's great for them. I wish I would have given this to Doodle when we first got him, but we didn't. And we tried everything and we didn't, it wasn't until they came to me and said, try this. It's great. It's not dog food. You just sprinkle it on your dog's food. It's a supplement. It's got vitamins, minerals. It's got probiotics. It's got omega-3, 6, 9. It's got all of these things that bring your dog's food to life. And what that does is it changes your dog. So Doodle had arthritic hips and fatty tumors. I can pet him. I can play with him. I can do things I've never been able to do with him. And I love that. The puppy's happy and healthy. That's amazing. Best thing I've ever done for him, $14.95. So less than $15 for a 2-week jumpstart. If you love your animals and you love your dogs like I love mine, try Rough Greens. Make your dog healthier and happier. It's the best thing you'll ever do for him. Roughgreens.com/Chad. RUFFgreens.com/Chad or call 833-MyDog88. 833-MyDog88. Less than $15 for a 2-week jumpstart. Roughgreens.com/Chad. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's take a look. Shall we? National Hurricane Center. Trending because we got another tropical storm. Lots of NFL stuff. Trending. Soccer. Liverpool and Manchester United both just destroyed yesterday. Shame! Shame! Shame on you! Very shameful. Jalen Ramsey and Golden Tate. So the Rams yesterday played... Follow along with me. It's the most interesting thing that happened in football yesterday. So the game was awful. So the Rams played the Giants yesterday. Rams won. Not a big shocker. Just was an ugly, horrible game. Jalen Ramsey and Golden Tate got into a huge fight after the game. And Ramsey thumped Tate a few occasions, and it's personal. Golden Tate was dating Jalen Ramsey's sister and left her while she was pregnant with their second child. And so, as they would say, they have beef. And Jalen is still threatening him. In fact, after the game, he went over to their locker room because he wanted to fight him. He stood outside, and they had to be separated. Protecting his sister. Head on over to Twitter. A lot of the craziness that you would think you would find. Roid rage, they're saying, with Trump because he's on steroids. COVIDiot is trending. A lot of states today, October 5th, is the last day you can register to vote. So if you want to vote, you better get your butt out there. California, Iowa, mail-in voting's already started early voting. New Jersey and Rhode Island start mail-in voting. Nebraska starts early as well. Last days to register to vote. Are you ready? Arkansas, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii allow same-day registration on Election Day. Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Ohio, South Carolina, Texas, and Tennessee. Just a few things that are trending out there. It's just crazy. Watching that, it was so surreal watching Trump. You know, the drive-bys all over, Google and his drive-by wave and just watching the thing. It was surreal. It's like, what are you doing? And people are like pushing back. Chad, you just don't get it. He wanted to show everybody, and I'm like, no. You just, at some point in time, just be a little smarter. I'm not asking. Look, some of the stuff that drives people crazy on the left with Trump is just everything he does, right? He's the guy that is the way he chew gum. He would hate it. The way he breathes. You have to breathe. That would drive him crazy. But there are some things out there. There's a little common sense that you just sit there and you go, I can't believe you did that. That was not, to me. It's just me. It's my opinion. It's my show. I gave you my opinion. I thought it was stupid. I did. I thought it was stupid. The videos, the signing a blank piece of paper, some of this stuff. Oh my God. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Do you think that we live in a simulation? 1 in 3 scientists believe we do. And I think they sit there and they think, wow, this simulation's got a bug. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Sources tell ABC News that President Trump tested positive for COVID-19 on a rapid test last Thursday evening after returning from a fundraiser at his golf club in New Jersey. But officials will not say when the president had his last negative test, a key detail to determine the timeline of his infection and who he may have exposed to the virus. White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany on Sunday.
I'm not going to give you a detailed readout with timestamps of every time the president's tested. He's tested regularly, and the first positive test he received was after his return from Bedminster.
Why does that matter? Well, I'll tell you why it matters. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, on the way to Bedminster, which is where he had a fundraiser, New Jersey, he knew he was positive. So that means at the place where he's going to be shaking hands and kissing babies and raising monies for his campaign, he's putting people at risk for COVID. People who are generally probably in the age range where it's a little bit more serious. Probably some people with some underlying health conditions. And I'm a risk-reward person. You take your own risk, right? You calculate the risk that you have. What's your risk? My risk is this. I'm willing to accept that risk. But if you knew that you were sick, that's a different story. You knew you were putting people at risk, absolutely not a good thing. An asinine thing to do. 110%. And you can try to spin it all you want. You can try to say, well, they were going to get a second test, the whole 9 yards. Sorry. That's insane. What were you thinking? Yesterday, the drive-by. Did I think Trump would do something like this? I think everybody thought Trump would do something like this, right? Right? He even talked about it. I always figured he's going to do the window thing. He's going to, whatever it is that he's going to do that to show everybody, look, I'm fine. I'm strong. I'm going to get through this.
I also think we're going to pay a little surprise to some of the great patriots that we have out on the street. And they've been out there for a long time, and they've got Trump flags, and they love our country. So I'm not telling anybody but you, but I'm about to make a little surprise visit. So perhaps I'll get there before you get to see me.
Yeah, you didn't have your appendix out. You've got something that's contagious. Is it as deadly as the media would like you to think it is? No, it is not. Doesn't mean that, we sit back here and go, it's no big deal. You need to take it serious. You do. And even if you don't think it's a big deal, the optics. I always turn to the optics, right? Well, Chad, that optics, who cares? Reality is reality. And here's the reality of this. People don't do their own homework. They don't search, right? We're a one-click nation. We look at something, see a headline, we click on it. If it looks like it's too long, we click right with just whatever the headline says we go with. We go to places where we're going to get affirmation, not information, because we're not interested in that. We're not interested in any kind of objective opinion. All we're interested in is the thing that affirms our belief. And then you got that 15% of people who, I'm curious. I've been a big believer, kind of more like Sweden than the way we've handled it. Allow people to make their own decisions. Know that there are vulnerable people out there. We need to protect them. We need to learn how to live with this thing, through it, around it, and with it, while we continue to effort to get all the things that we need to get to fight this thing long term. I've been that way. I've been a proponent. When things weren't going well in Sweden, everybody's like, see what's happening in Sweden. Okay, I'm looking. And the reality is for whatever reason, Sweden, while they struggle at first, they've seemed to be motoring along. A little bit of the light touch. The rest of Europe's looking. Why are people next door who are wearing masks? Why are there, why are the other Scandinavian countries seeing certain things rise? Why are some Scandinavian countries, I believe it was Finland. I don't think they had a mask, or Norway. They didn't have a mask mandate, but they didn't have huge issues. So I've been a big proponent of understanding the risk. I'm also not an idiot. If you're sick, and I don't care what it is, how many of you out there, it's a perfect example. How many of you out there have gone to work with the flu? Or a bad head cold, or something you could probably give to somebody, but you didn't want to take the day off from work for whatever reason. You couldn't afford it. I don't want to waste sick days on actually being sick because I might want to do something else. Everybody has. And it's not the smart thing to do. It isn't. Not good for your body, not good for other people. And most people are willing to risk their lives in getting this for whatever that's worth. Most people are willing to go, you know what? I don't want to give somebody else this, but I'm willing to do it. Yesterday, to me, I just thought you didn't need to do that. There are better ways of going about doing things. And when we're talking about this and the way that it's affected the globe, from the economy to the health side to everything in between, it just felt like, what were you thinking?
I mean, this is evidence that his behaviors, his treatment course is not being directed by his doctors. There's no doctor that would say now is the time for a joyride around the hospital. He should remain put. He should remain in isolation. And it makes me sick to see him in close quarters with the others in that car who need to go into quarantine right now. Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? Dr. Chu's right there. I don't know if it made me sick, but I just thought it's another one of those, you're saying things.
So it's been a very interesting journey. I learned a lot about COVID. I learned it by really going to school. This is the real school. This isn't the let's read the book school. And I get it, and I understand it. And it's a very interesting thing, and I'm going to be letting you know about it. In the meantime, we love the USA, and we love what's happening. Thank you.
But then you went out and you got into a car with your Secret Service agents, and several of them have come out in over the last several weeks and said, look, he's never really cared about us, doesn't think much about that. I don't know how much you read into that, but some people were pissed. Now, he was going to do this, so you have to have somebody do it.
You know, the president wanted to thank all the supporters who had been standing out there for days, supporting him. The detail leader and of the Secret Service and the driver both volunteered for that assignment. As you know, they have very, very difficult jobs, but they were not required to do that. They both volunteered. And there was a piece of plexiglass, I believe, between the president and the two Secret Service agents who were in the vehicle.
They just wanted 2 weeks off. I've been exposed. I should probably get 2 weeks off. I need 2 weeks off, sir. I've been exposed. If you don't mind, it's time for me to take some time off. To me, it wasn't the optics, not a smart situation. Sorry. Other people are going to disagree. It's totally fine, Chad. No, just think about it from the optics side of things. And when you're thinking about voting, because here we are in election time, we're less than a month away. Trump's going to be off the campaign trail, at least for the next few days. I don't know when he's going to come back, because don't be surprised. He's going to make an appearance here and there, probably going to make some Zoom calls. You know, Pence is going to be out there doing his stuff. You'll see him pop in from time to time, but he'll make some appearances and then he'll eventually be back out there. The reality of all of this is, though, some people are not diehard Republicans or Trumpers, and you need them. They're not diehard Democrats. Certainly aren't enthused about what the Democrats are bringing. So you have the chance and the need to get their votes. You have to think like that. Not that, oh, I live for Trump. I love Trump. Trump is my Yahweh. No. You have to look at it from, how do you get the independent voter who does take this a little bit more serious than you do, who thinks to himself, well, that feels a little bit irresponsible. How big is the coronavirus for real? It's always the economy, stupid. Well, the coronavirus has made the economy stupid. And people are frustrated.
Pence tested negative again Sunday, and the White House insists he hasn't been near Trump since he tested positive. It's unclear how voters will respond to the president's diagnosis. But according to our latest ABC News Ipsos poll, 72% of Americans think Trump didn't take the risk of getting COVID seriously.
That's big when you have 72%. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, it's only 60%, because we'll say it's ABC Ipsos. That's big. That's a big deal. That means 60%, 40% thought he did just about enough. But 60% means not all of them are Democrats. And you need independence if Trump wants another 4 years. He needs independence. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I don't know when, the campaigns, it's going to go on. It's going to happen. What do you think if you're Pence right now? Like, how do you do this? I think it's a real question. Like, how does Pence approach this? How does he come at it? What is he thinking in this situation? And then the other side of things, the reality is Joe Biden could get this thing for all the mask wearing, for all the stuff he does. There's still the potential, because no matter what kind of bubble you build, unless you're just going to say, all right, these are the 8 people, we're never allowed to leave, and we can't meet or see or do anything, we can't go anywhere, you're going to run the risk of catching this. What if he catches it? Does that change this in any way, shape, or form? Because both sides are looking for the "ha-ha, I told you so" moment. Masks don't work. Masks do work. But if you're Pence and, you've got a debate this week, I don't know what that's going to look like. Why are we having it in Utah? That's a fair question. You guys are both in D.C. Why don't we just do it there? What does that look like? How big of an impact? Because I think people are going to tune in, because I think a lot of people on the right and a lot of independents, their thought process is Biden ain't doing 4 years. She's going to end up being the one who's going to step up and be president. So what is she all about? And other people are looking, going, well, we really haven't heard much from Pence. What is he really all about? How does he approach this? Does she tear him apart? Does he get some good, shots in? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Car Shield, 800-CAR-6000, code Benson, saves you 10%. People ask me, Chad, does Car Shield really work? It does. And this is what I tell everybody. This is what you need to do. You call Car Shield and you explain to them exactly what you're looking for. So say you want the electronics in your car. You've got, the GPS and all that stuff. You want that protected. You're not worried about the other things. Boom. It's handled. How about on the other side of things? Maybe you don't have that, but you're worried about the transmission in your car. They've got a plan that's right for you. Plans start as low as $99 a month. 24/7 roadside assistance. Rental car for freeway cars in the shop. You choose a shop. They get them paid directly. I used it when I had the electronics fixed in my newer car. And it's so simple. Call them right now, 800-CAR-6000. Use code Benson, 800-CAR-6000. Use code Benson. When you do that, you save 10%. Be specific in what you're looking for. Go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
Look, man, I'm a nice guy, but if you give me any more guff tonight, I'll rip your face off like a mad chimp. I'll knock that thing off your head and burn it. Bury it in the pet cemetery where it came from. Stop it, Joe. Stop it. You can't lose your cool just because this joker's raising little monkey dust. The country's counting on you. You just stand here and look lucid.
Jim Carrey playing Joe Biden. It was okay. It was. I mean, Saturday Night Live. It was their biggest, I think it was 4 years, their biggest night they've had in 4 years. And I just don't, I watch it every once in a great while. I don't find it to be that funny. It's just the same old same. We know how you feel. You hate the president. Okay, well, there you go. Lose half the audience. And that's fine. That's the way we do things now. We look and say, all right, half the audience loves the president, other half hates the president. We know what that other half is. It's Hollywood, it's New York, it's San Francisco, it's DC. So this is what we'll do. We're just going to play to that crowd, and everybody else can kind of, you do your own thing. It was all right. And you've got somebody. Here's my thing. What happens? And I asked the guys this earlier. And I've asked this for the last few years. Like, to my friends who were in the media, what happens when Trump's gone? No matter how he leaves. He leaves in 4 years. He leaves because he loses now. Whatever. What happens then? Because you're not going to spend 4 years covering Biden like you've covered Trump. Well, he's not going to be as crazy. Okay. But that crazy got you ratings. That crazy allowed your billing to go through that roof. That crazy is money. Look at the New York Times bestseller list. It's full of Trump books. He's awful, he's evil, he's bad, he's good, he's this. He is a industry unto himself, and that includes the media. So how do you cover Joe? Because you're not going to cover Joe being crazy. Because Joe's not going to be crazy. Are you going to cover his mental well-being if he starts to go a little bit here or there? Are you going to criticize him every time? Are you going to fact-check everything? No. So what happens when your readership goes, your viewers go, At the end of the day, it's a business. Show business, news business. You're not a nonprofit, although some of you should be. Most of you are nonprofit. Literally, we've got no profit whatsoever. We're no profit. So how do you cover Trump? Well, you cover him because he's chaos. He's craziness. He's a dumpster fire at times. And at other times, he's King Kong. And at other times, he's this. You cover him because he's interesting. You've not become more interesting. I was talking to somebody well-respected in the business the other day. And their dream, this is their dream. Trump loses, but he doesn't go away. Holds rallies on a weekly basis all over the country. He continues to be Trump left, right, and center. Even more unfiltered. But they said it's not going to be the same because he's not going to have a real impact on the day-to-day running of the country. So more or less, after a while, people just kind of poo-poo the whole thing. I'm like, that's your go-to? I'm like, yeah, that's sad. That is sad. Very sad. For me, people say, well, what will you do if Trump's gone? I'm like, that's totally fine. I got a lot of things I'd rather cover. I like to cover the day-to-day life of the insanity that we live in. And I'll hold Biden in check when he needs to be held in check. But up until the last couple months, we're not a Trump show. We cover politics, but more on the day-to-day basis of how it affects you. But we also cover everything we possibly can. And I like to get back to talk about that because when I talk with my friends, we talk a little politics and then we talk about life, family, little things, sports. Like we're just BSing, and that's the way it should be. But for the CNNs, the Foxes, the MSNBC, do you think Morning Joe's going to do 3 hours a day on Joe Biden? What did Joe do today? He had oatmeal. Oh, my God. That's controversial. Could have had cereal. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. You know, we'll do more stories like this. I think they found something with Loch Ness. Tour boat, radar, something giant about 600 feet below the surface. They're pretty pumped about it. Oh, Nessie. Hey, it's 2020. Would I be surprised? I would not. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
These presidential SUVs are hermetically sealed. They're airtight to prevent chemical attack. And the president stepping inside of one of them increases risk of transmission, exposure, and infection to others. So this trip around Walter Reed was not only unnecessary, but quite frankly, it was dangerous.
I'm not going to look. Here's the thing. I thought it was asinine and stupid. I don't care. You can hate me all you want. Zero problems with it. I don't think it was necessary at all. I don't care who's, it totally was necessary. Mayor Giuliani.
The president wanted to show people, I'm around, I'm doing well.
Okay, but that's what Twitter and everything else is for. Do I think that it's overblown? I think Trump didn't learn. Does he do things for his base? He does. Here's the reality, though. You need more than the base that you have. You get 100,000 people to show up somewhere. Joe Biden couldn't do that. He may not get 100,000 people to show up in 100,000, but can he get enough people to vote for him? And is that 100,000 what you have, or is there more out there? I think there is more out there, but you need the independents. You absolutely need independents. I just spoke to a guy. Cool dude. Works here. Produces another show. Smart. 28. Said to me today, that was it. This is the final straw. I've given him opportunities and I just, it's that just felt unnecessary and stupid. I said, there you go. You need people like that to vote for you. Will it be overblown like these two guys that have, no, they've been exposed, they're going to die. This isn't Chernobyl, all right? So this isn't, I watched an amazing documentary the other day. I think some people think this is like Chernobyl. You get near somebody, it's like, this is it. You know, you could be within 17 hours, you could be dead. This isn't the Ebola virus. This isn't any of those things. This isn't radioactive. What it is it is a very easily caught virus that certain age groups and people with certain comorbidities are at high risk from getting very sick and potentially dying. That's what it is. And because of the ease at which you can catch it, it has caused our global world to be put on pause and at times even take steps backwards. Then the politics gets involved. That's what we got here, the politics. To wear a mask, to not wear a mask. Is it political theater? Of course some of it's political theater, for God's sakes. Is it overblown at times? Of course it is. Has Trump at times understated it? 110%. 110%.
Your approach to mask and social distancing at these rallies has been a mistake. Will it change going forward?
Again, I'll push back on that and say it hasn't been cavalier at all. We take it very seriously. It's why we give everyone coming to rallies or to events, we give them a mask. We check their temperature. You know, I'd say that with regard to Joe Biden, I think too often he's used the mask as a prop. Mask is very important, but even if he could be 20, 30 feet away from the nearest person and still have the mask on, that's not going to change anything.
Who cares? Who cares? I mean, are there people out there that completely overdo it? Oh, totally. Like most people out there, it's like, all right, when I get in the car, I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm not going to wear a mask at home. Like for me right now, I'm sitting in my studio. I'm doing my show from my studio. I'm here. Guess what? I've totally social distanced from my producers. One producer's in Sacramento, California. We're about 800 miles away. The other one's 3,500 miles away. It's safe to say we've social distanced. The other show I do, I join a group of people. My on-air partner and I got our newswoman. We've got two other producers, and I'm around, normally I'd be around 60 or 70, but right now there's only about 10 to 12 in the building at any one time. So when I'm in a common area, I wear my mask. When I'm inside of our office and we're working, I usually don't wear a mask. Our other executive producer, he wears a mask all the time. He's got comorbidities. He's worried that if he got this, it wouldn't kill him, but he feels that he would be really sick. I can't blame him for that. I don't blame anybody. Who cares if you wear a mask or don't wear a mask? They're taking away our freedoms. No, what you should care about is how do we get our country moving in the right direction? What we should care about is can we stop fighting with each other and fight against this? We learn to live with it, through it, and around it. What are the things that we can do to make sure that our neighbors' businesses stay open as well as ours, that our kids can get their butts back in school so you don't have to, Zoom with them half the day, help them do their work, fight with their teachers and them. What are the common sense things that we can do? There are people out there, they wouldn't wear a mask, period, case closed, no matter what scientific proof you showed them. There are other people out there that no matter what scientific proof you showed them, they would wear a mask and a hazmat suit 24/7 if they could. That's your prerogative. But the businesses, hey, you know what? The business asked me to wear a mask. I'm going to wear a mask. We'll go back to this as we have in the past. And we'll continue to do so. If Costco asks you to wear top hat and tails to get into their place, you better figure out where you get top hat and tails. Because otherwise, you ain't coming in. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Speaking of business, these are the things that matter for a lot of people out there. COVID's a huge thing, but they're no longer worried about the health effects of it because they feel, hey, I've seen the numbers, I've seen the data. The data says this. I'm worried about the data that says I'm running out of money and my business isn't open, and now I'm worried we may get shut down again.
For most businesses, there was life before COVID-19 and life after it.
Almost half of respondents think that Americans have been adapting.
Eugenio Alman with the National Association for Business Economics on the group's latest survey also says it may be a while before we see a GDP back at pre-pandemic levels.
We will have to wait until at least the second half of 2021.
On a more positive note, respondents say we probably won't see a double-dip recession, even with a second wave of the virus.
Here's the good news. We're getting closer to a vaccine. Therapeutics are becoming more and more reality. Regeneron has a therapeutic right now, this antibody thing that seems that Trump got. You have the situation with steroids that Trump has got this as well. So it seems to be we're moving in that direction that's good. And, Fauci over the weekend said, I think we're going to get some sort of vaccine in the near future. So that's cool. Fantastic. I live in the now. I'm looking at the future. I plan for tomorrow, but I live for right now. What do? Social distance a little bit? Wash our hands a little bit more? And wear a mask when applicable. Even if it makes other people feel better. I don't think these masks are foolproof. My goodness, I've got 2 masks here. One of my masks is it's placebo effect. It's gross. It's dirty. No matter how many times I watch it, right? You wash it, you put it down, automatically it's contaminated. Put it in your pocket, walk around. You're making it's like going to the TSA. Do I really think they're going to stop anybody? No. I do not. You can go to the TSA all day and you're thinking to yourself, well, they're searching the 83-year-old woman who's in a walker. These other guys just walk through with all kinds of stuff. That's okay. It's a placebo effect. If you've got the right mask, it's fantastic. And you can't deny that. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not a science denier. But I look at all sides of science because you can find, based on politics and who writes your damn check, things that will juxtapose the position that's out there.
That if you wear the mask properly, transmission's about 3% versus if you're not wearing a mask or wearing it improperly, closer to 18%. So, 6-fold difference by wearing a mask. It's not perfect, but it can make a significant difference.
And that's what we want. It's not perfect. Not perfect at all. Do you know that, ask a doctor and a medical professional, but ask doctors. Doctors actually have courses when they're going through school to teach them how to wear the PPE stuff correctly. We're buying our stuff at the checkout line at Ross and Walmart and Old Navy. We're like, oh my God, look, this is so cool. This has da-da-da-da-da on it. I like it. Matches my outfit. Do I think it's stopping anything? Well, if it could stop one, then that's a win. We fight. We make everything political. That's the world we live in. Part of it is the fact that we've got this insane world of social media that gives us the opportunity to yell and scream at each other. Hey, I don't know you. You live on the other side of the country. I think you're a Richard. Let me tell you why.
With the cloth masks, the surgical masks, the real benefit is that you're decreasing the amount of virus that's getting into the air, and therefore you're just likely to have less virus in an environment like a small room with lots of people inside of it. So, yeah, it protects you. If other people are wearing masks, you protect other people by wearing a mask. That's absolutely true.
It should be common sense. We have lost we're so blinded for our disdain for one another's political beliefs that we've lost the plot about, well, if they don't work, right? If masks don't work, then why do doctors wear them? Because we never thought doctors wearing a mask and people wearing masks in certain situations didn't help them, didn't benefit them. It wasn't like a doctor goes, it'd be great if I had something on my face for 8 hours while I perform surgery. No. They obviously work. Maybe not the ones that we get a hold of. They're not N95s, not those. Some of you may have those, but outside of all of this, we've turned this into politics, and it should just be, how do we get through this thing together? We can fight at the end, point fingers at the end, but we don't, because we need to make sure that we know who we hate while we're fighting the same virus. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Wounded Paw Project. Amazing organization. In fact, I'm getting ready to talk to Ernesto later on this week, talk about a lot of the stuff that's going on and the people that Wounded Paw Project's been helping. Started out as a guy who rescued a dog who changed his life, Ernesto, coming home from battle, struggling to get back into society. And now he rescues animals, dogs who would otherwise be euthanized, trains them, takes them from the shelter to be service dogs for veterans, first responders, and their family. The work they're doing is amazing. It is not easy because it's not like they just take little puppies and things. They will rescue dogs who you would think that you should not rescue that dog. And the latest one, they rescued a dog that was a fighting dog and trained it. And it is now one of the first responders. It's their family's dog for their son who has autism. It is that amazing. They need your help. You can give in so many different ways. You can go to smile.amazon.com, such your supporting group to help. They take cash. Better yet, go to woundedpawproject.org. Find out how you can turn a gift of a vehicle into a truly life-changing thing. woundedpawproject.org. Great tax-deductible gift. It is so amazing. woundedpawproject.org. woundedpawproject.org. Go see the work they're doing. woundedpawproject.org. Chad Benson Show.
Darn, that climate change. Batten down the hatches. It's Topical Storm Chad. Headed your way.
Large in-person rallies with the president have been put on hold for now. But over the weekend, his campaign launched a Trump re-election bus tour with top surrogates gathering indoors, few wearing masks.
People look at that and say, you guys have learned nothing. You've learned nothing. Like, that's real. Well, we just don't think it's something we should worry about. And I'm not here to judge. If you never want to wear a mask, I don't care. Why do you wear a mask? Because my business asked me to. Here. That's it. Places I go in, they ask me to wear a mask. I do, because I'm not a Richard. If they came into my house, if they came into my car, we'd have an issue. If I'm out on a walk, I'm going to go hit golf balls. And I do pretty much every day. When I go inside, pay for whatever, whether I'm going to go play 9 really quick or whether I'm going to go, just get a bucket, I wear a mask. When I go out there to the range, I take my mask off. It's not that hard. It's not. But people look at this and say, you didn't, it feels like you're not learning something. And that frustrates and I want you guys to step out of you live for Trump for just a moment. Just step out of it. Think about the other people that are going to help you get over the line. Think about that. It's the same thing I tell the people on the left side of the aisle. For a moment, think about the overdoing it on stuff and the thought of closing things down forever until we sort this thing out, until we cure death. Think about you need independent voters. But people can't because they're so just like, I got to. This is all I believe in. So take a deep breath. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Somebody's been a lot of people ask me, do you think there's a civil war coming? I do not. I say it and I'll say it again. We're pretty lazy. Now, could there be knuckleheads that try some stuff? I guess. I don't even know. What does that even look like? Because here's the thing. So who's trying what? Well, you could have this group over here and this group, and you got the Antifas and the Proud Boys or the Trump supporters and Antifa, and they're going to start fighting. And then the cops are going to show up and they're going to knock everybody over their head. And they're going to say, what are you guys doing? So the civil war that people think is coming, do we have no more National Guard? We have no more police force? Well, in some cities, they'd like to get rid of that. But then they're like, no, this didn't work. So what do you think's going to happen? Now, will knuckleheads do things? Of course, because knuckleheads, it doesn't matter where you are. You put 100 people in the room, I can guarantee you at least 5 of them are knuckleheads. And they're going to do something stupid. In some cases, it's maybe only 1. In other cases, it may be 10. But on average, about 5 or so are ding-dongs, and they do stupid things. But the other 95% turn around and go, what are you guys doing? What's going on here? So, no, I think you overestimate the want of people to do certain things. It all sounds good until it happens. It all sounds good until, oh, yeah, we should totally do this. And are there people out there that would like to stoke something? Like, we're going to make this happen. It isn't happening. It is. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. There is a debate this week. Will it take place? What's at stake? Normally, the vice presidential debate gets very little play. Could this be somewhat of the presidential debate? It might just be. Text the program. Check out Chad Benson Show TV on the YouTube. Go like our Facebook, Chad Benson Show. It is Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
And the list keeps on growing with Kayleigh McEnany now testing positive for the coronavirus. It's a lot of folks who've tested positive for the coronavirus around the president. I don't think the president gave it to him. You don't know. He's understanding coronavirus around the COVID.
So it's been a very interesting journey. I learned a lot about COVID. I learned it by really going to school. This is the real school. This isn't the let's read the book school. And I get it, and I understand it. And it's a very interesting thing, and I'm going to be letting you know about it. In the meantime, we love the USA, and we love what's happening. Thank you.
Thank you. We love the USA. I didn't think he didn't love the USA. There's an article in Vanity Fair. Now, all these things. I got sources. Well, I have sources too. And here's the way sources work. First of all, you have people that feed you information, that work within campaigns, work within the White House, work within the sports team, some of the players, of all of those things. Right? So the players in the actual game, some of the players in the actual politics, and they give you stuff. You put it to the test. Like sometimes they'll give you stuff at first and you don't say anything because you want to see if they're right. It's like a test. And you're like, well, they got a couple of these things right. They were spot on. And sometimes it's fake because they want to see who's leaking what. But after a while, you start to know, okay, who can I trust? Who can't I trust? But you never out your source because then they're not going to be your source anymore. And then people are going to come to you and give you things. But we also live in a time of disinformation and nobody holds anybody accountable. And if you get stuff wrong, and there's a difference between getting stuff wrong, like where you were told something, and where is that real or did you just make that up? According to Vanity Fair. It's according to Vanity Fair. John Jr. is upset about Pops rolling around yesterday while he's infected with the COVID. In fact, he's told his friends, he's tried to lobby Ivanka, Eric, and Jared to convince Pop he needs to stop acting unstable. He wants to stage an intervention, but Jared and Ivanka keep telling Trump how great he is. A source said he's reluctant to confront Pops alone. I'm not going to be the only one telling him he's acted crazy. Now, how long does this crazy? Like, is this crazy going back to way, way long time ago? And then they start bringing up, does he have Alzheimer's? And I don't, like, I don't know how real any of this is. I don't buy some of this. some of the other stuff they're talking about is the steroids. He's on steroids, and let me tell you something. If you know anything about steroids, they can have some effect on you, both positive and negative.
When we put patients on high-dose steroids like that, we monitor them very closely because there's a host of side effects, including impact on their mental health and decision-making. You can see delirium or psychosis. You are generally not yourself. There comes a time when patients on this very specific treatment regimen maybe shouldn't be making decisions about what they have capacity to do. Dr.
Cho there. Is that true? He's on a ton. That's for sure. He's on all kinds of stuff. Look, I got to give it to him. 74, dude goes. Right? Nothing seems to stop him. He's go. Even before this. I do question yesterday, and I'll continue to do so because I don't think it was good. I think there's some other stuff, too, that we have to ask questions about. The timeline itself of when did he get sick? When did he not get sick? And the reason for that is because people are asking, hey, were you sick, potentially earlier than people want to admit? And because of that, did you potentially put people in harm's way by going out to a fundraiser? I think that's a very fair question to ask. I do. It's absolutely a very fair question to ask, because if that was true, my uncle, who's a huge Trump supporter, he loves Trump. He absolutely loves Trump. But he said to me on Friday, I've seen it some places. Some things, they seem a little iffy. Other things, he goes, but I'll tell you what, Chad, if it was true that it was actually Wednesday when he found out that he was sick, or earlier Thursday, and he still went to a public gathering at Bedminster to raise money, he goes, that'd be it for me. Well, I get it. Yesterday, for a lot of people, that frustration level, they feel like he's not learned a damn thing about this. That he's just went out and said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go do this. It's really not a big deal. It's not as big as people. Again, optics. Stop thinking about, well, I love Trump, so everybody should love Trump, and it's not a big deal. Think about the people that are in the middle. The people that have voted for Trump but aren't thrilled by all this, and this antics may be a little too much. Other people who they like the stuff that Trump has done, but they voted for Hillary. They're in the middle again. They don't want any more chaos and craziness, but they like the stuff that Trump's done. Is this a bridge too far for them? Those are things that you have to think about, not whether or not you're voting for him, against him. You made that decision up probably right after the last election. But those undecided voters in swing states, you need those. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. With all that being said, you still have something else out there, the confirmation process.
Republicans say that their timeline is still on track, but they are holding on to a razor-thin majority when it comes to this process. 2 GOP senators have already said they do not support moving forward with the vote before the election, and 2 other Republican senators in the Judiciary Committee have tested positive for COVID-19. If they're not healthy in time for that vote, then that could jeopardize the entire timeline.
Yeah, and they've got a timeline. They're going to roll this thing out there. We want to get this done. We need to get this done. We want to get her confirmed. And they'll do it no matter what. They're coming. They're going to do this. And I find that to be something that, you're like, how can they do this? Oh, trust me, Tom Cotton.
So the hearing is going to go forward, no doubt in my mind, starting a week from tomorrow. And then on the Senate floor later this month, first off, I think every senator who's currently tested positive or is in isolation will be back to work under normal conditions, as other senators have been as well, like Rand Paul or Tim Kaine. But if that's not the case, there is a long and venerable tradition of ill or medically infirm senators being wheeled in to cast critical votes on the Senate floor.
So we're going to be wheeling people in. We're wheeling you in. Here you go. Come on, get over here. You're coming on in. We're going to wrap you up. You can be in there by yourself. The minute you cast your vote, we're going to steam clean everything and get you on out.
Most recently, Robert Byrd in 2009 repeatedly rolled in a wheelchair just months before his death to vote for Obamacare. So I'm confident that every senator will be in attendance when his or her vote is needed.
It's confident. Tom Cotton right there. Confident. I thought that was so bizarre. Like, that's what you guys are going to do? Yes, we got to get this done. Well, they know they got to get this done. Because I think they know deep down, at least the Congress people I've talked to, who have said they feel like the Senate's going to go to the way of the Democrats and that they're going to probably lose a few more seats in the House and then they'll solidify. And they're just, I said, do you really feel that way? And they're like, yeah. I could see that. And part of it has to do with, too, with how many seats the Republicans have to defend this time and where they're at. The Republicans have to defend a lot of seats in the Senate, and they've got some really tight races that Lindsey Graham did not look good this weekend. Susan Collins is struggling. I think you're going to have, it'll be closer. But I think that the Democrats are going to take back the Senate, and I think they're going to strengthen in the House. And then as far as the presidency go, if you asked me today who I think is going to win, if it was held today, I would say I think Joe Biden's going to win. It's not held. And I think Trump's going to do everything he can to get himself back out there. And I think he will. Now, when will that come? I don't know. But when you look at the polls, and people talk, well, the polls are a mess. They don't No, the polls. Look, the polls got most of the last election right. They didn't get the Electoral College right. But they got the fact that she did win the popular vote. And if you even cut in half, just lop in half what the polls are. So if they say it's 10%, say it's 5%. If it say it's 14%, say it's 7%. The margin of error is about 3%. Biden's still leading. And most importantly, where is he leading? And what's the big thing as we head into this election, which is less than a month away?
Pence tested negative again Sunday, and the White House insists he hasn't been near Trump since he tested positive. It's unclear how voters will respond to the president's diagnosis. But according to our latest ABC News Ipsos poll, 72% of Americans think Trump didn't take the risk of getting COVID seriously.
Yeah, and when you got the likes of Chris Christie and McEnany and Tom Tillis and everybody who seems to be around you who have tested positive in some way, shape, or form or waiting to hear back, you start to think, well, maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't take it serious. And after yesterday's stunt, people are saying, is he not learning anything?
No one was wearing masks in the room when we were prepping the president during that period of time. The group was about 5 or 6 people in total.
Chris Christie, who's got it, went into the hospital. Abundance of precaution. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. What do you think? Look, do I think that the left is going to overplay in the media what took place yesterday? Of course. I absolutely do. Do I think on the other side of it, the right will downplay it like it's no big deal? Yes. Is it somewhere in the middle? Should Trump have done it? Probably not. Is there a way for him to go wave to people and say thank you? Of course there is. Have we turned this thing into the sky is falling or it's really nothing but a little cold? Because that's the way we live. We live in the extremes when it comes to who gets the voice to be heard. But should have been smarter about it yesterday. The optics aren't great. And no, they became lax over the last several months. And it's now cost them at the time that it couldn't cost them election-wise because it's taken him off the campaign trail. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. MyPillow. Get your MyPillow right now. They got a BOGO. Buy one, get one free. On everything, the MyPillows, the Giza sheets and towels, the Stow and Go Anywhere towels, they've got these great deals. You buy one, you get one free. 60-day money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty. Everything's made in the USA. I love it. And right now, when you go to MyPillow.com, use the promo code Benson. On the way out, you order Mike Lindell's book. He's going to ship everything for free. Plus, he's going to give you a gift card for $25 towards your next purchase. It is the BOGO. Buy one, get one free on everything. Go to MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
This letter just went out to all the West Wing staffers, essentially telling them if you're feeling symptoms, don't come into work. A common notification that would go out after there's been a COVID exposure during an instance like this. But that letter came 4 days after Hope Hicks tested positive.
Yeah, here's the thing, because McEnany tested positive. She said, I have no symptoms. I have none of that stuff. I get checked all the time. You don't know who may have had it first. You know, like Hope Hicks was the first one to test positive, but was she the first one to get it? Or did she get it from somebody else who didn't get tested as frequently at the White House? It's a possibility. You don't know. It's all a possibility. Could Kayleigh McEnany be the one? Because she said today, while she's got it, she feels no symptoms. Reporters and, you know, certain White House staff don't need to worry because they're not close contact. And it's this whole thing. Remember, we're fighting something we can't see. And trying to pinpoint who gave it to you or where you caught it is virtually impossible. Unless you stay in. Nobody comes to your house but one person, and you haven't seen anybody for weeks. Then you could probably go, does that person have it? They do? Well, that's where I got it, because I haven't left my house. It's not the same with Trump and the people around him. And everybody's like, well, they should just have a bubble. You're not going to do that, because you need to be out on the campaign trail. So no matter how kind of bubble you build, you still have to do business. And no matter how much business you can do on Zoom, people have certain things that they're going to have to do in person. That's just the way that things are done. So there's always that chance that something can happen. That's it. At the end of the story, there's always some chance that something's going to happen. And who you get it from, I don't know. How you got it, again, I don't know. I don't know. You start retracing. That's why the testing itself, while it sounds great, at the end of the day, it's only as good as that moment you got tested. Because if you're going to leave there and then come in contact over the next several days or hours with people, your test being negative means very little, because along the way you could have picked something up. And if you've come in contact with somebody who has it and you test for it and it hasn't built up enough to show that you're positive, you could get a test that says I'm negative and then test a few days later and it be positive. It's tough. It is. We're dealing with something we can't see. So what do? We fight with people we can see. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Oh, sad news, because you know my love of the movies.
The past isn't dead.
It's a done deal. Regal Cinemas owner Cineworld confirms they're temporarily closing all 526 Regal Cinemas locations in America, as well as 127 theaters in the UK as of this Thursday. The news first broke Friday, but as recently as Sunday, Cineworld tweeted they were only considering shuttering their screens. The ongoing pandemic has all but eliminated moviegoing and delayed the release of potential blockbusters, most recently the James Bond flick No Time to Die. The closures will cost some 4,500 jobs.
Yeah. Sad. Normally, we talked about this. I see, I don't know how many movies. 30 movies a year? Maybe a little bit more. I've seen one this year. That super bums me. That's the one thing I've missed the most is movie going. Getting my popcorn, getting my hot dog, getting my drink, kicking back. Just 2 hours of not having to think about chaos and craziness. And that kind of sucks. And Regal, I'm a Regal member, and that's a super bummer because I got a lot of points that I can't use. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text, check out the Instagram as well. Love hearing from all of you. Crazy, still going to get crazier. I think we all know this. We all understand that this is just the beginning of who knows what. When will Trump get back out on the road? Right, coming out of the hospital is one thing, but when's he going to get back out there? We're still in a campaign. Are the debates still up for grab? We got one on, was it Thursday night? Another debate. This time it's the vice presidential debate, which many people are looking at could be the future presidential debate. Just loony. Hey, be kind to each other. We'll do it again tomorrow. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.